Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev, live here with you all. Here's DJ, and another Friday morning. Good morning, Niels. Good morning, everyone. I've got my coffee, I've got my biscuit, which I hopefully will not forget to eat this time. It's quite cold here in Manchester this morning. Fabrice, good morning to you. We're going to continue with where we left off last week. I hope you're all set for that. I've got everything here. I don't know why. I always seem to sort of have a final panic at the last moment, thinking, oh, I've not done this or I've not done that. I've not prepared this. Volker Morgan. Good morning to Volker Buzek in the house. So that's a very good way of writing good morning. Helmut, good morning to Brunswick in Germany. I'm going to have a drink of coffee first from my Hands on SAP Dev mug. By the way, I think, was it last week or in between last week and this week, Christian Drum had mentioned he's got a new laptop and he was looking for stickers. So I said, oh yes, I've still got some of the Hands on SAP Dev stickers that Ronnie, the wonderful Ronnie Sletter, produced when we first, or near where we first started out. So I said I can send him some of those. And John Murray, you've sent me your address as well. If anybody else wants any Hands on SAP Dev stickers, I've also got the developers.sap.com stickers, you know, the domain name of the URL. I've got that sort of in, I think it's yellow and black or something, with a white background, quite thin. It's quite good. So I'll stick some of those in as well. If anybody wants any of those, I don't have them to show you because they're actually up in the roof. I did a bit of a clear up and they're in a box. So I'm going to go up in the roof this weekend and find the box and get them out and post them. So let me know. Send me a DM on Twitter or something. Private message me with your address, your postal address, and I can send some to you. I'd be delighted to. So good morning to Luis. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Another nice Friday session. I hope so, Luis. And it's always going to be nice with you here, and Bahesh. A very good morning to you, and John. Very good morning. Just talking about you, John. So there we go. So good morning. However you spell it, it's a good morning anyway. Yes. Okay. So let me just switch to the main scene, and let's just dive straight into it. By the way, let me know how I watched back last week's episode last night. And I noticed that I had a bit of a fail on my lighting because there's some sort of shadowing from the green screen. Let me know how it is right now. An error occurred, please. That's okay, John. I've got an error occurred on this thing. I think I'm okay on the live stream. I'm going to refresh what's going on here. Is the live stream still okay? I think the live stream's still okay. Yeah, okay. So it's this Windows laptop that's gone a bit funny. That's okay. So I'm just monitoring, again, I'm monitoring the chat because I've also tidied up my old laptop, which I used to use, my Chrome Pixelbook, my Google Pixelbook, which I use normally on YouTube Studio to monitor the chat. Bonjour, Mark. Bonjour, ça va? Anyway, so I'm using this old Windows. It's quite good, this Lenovo T420, but running Windows on it, not so much. So I would like to run Linux, but Michelle is using that for her Microsoft stuff. Word and Excel and all that stuff. So we're going to keep that on. Ronnie, good morning. Just talking about you, Ronnie. And stickers and everything. So seems like die-hard fan of coffee. Yes, Ravi, I am a die-hard fan of coffee with my Hands on SAP Dev mug. OAuth at 8 a.m. This mug was created for me by the wonderful Alex Ellis of OpenFaz fame, the Docker captain, etc. Anyway, where do we leave off? Let's dive straight. No, John. I am using Windows in that it's a Windows laptop. It's not mine. It's Michelle's. But it's the only laptop I had at hand to go on YouTube Studio and just monitor the chat. I could monitor the chat here, for example, and keep switching, but it's a little bit of a pain. By the way, in fact, I did mean to have a look to see, using my phone, can I monitor the chat? Can I go in and look at my... Oh, there we go, live. Can I go into this live thing here and see the chat? Oh, I can. Oh, wow, that's quite cool. I can turn the volume right off. There we go. I could monitor the chat there as well if I get something to prop it up. There we go. Let's see if that will work. It's quite small, but it's quite cool. Time to nerd out. Yes, I can see it. I can see it. Maybe I need my glasses when I'm reading that. That was quite... So, here we go. Look at that. That's quite good. So I can monitor the chat like that. Cool. Okay, well, I'll leave the Windows laptop going just in case. So, let's get started. What have we got? We've got... in fact, I've just created a copy of that, part 1, etc. Where we ended up last week was we'd created... a piece of a text file with the output of the BTP get accounts, global accounts show higher, and we parsed that. We were messing around quite a lot with regular expressions and everything. So that's where we ended up. And in fact, we ended, let me log in first. BTP TP login, hands on SAP dev. That's my thing. Okay, grab the things there. Okay, so I'm now logged in to the account BTP get accounts, global accounts show hierarchy. That's where we ended up. And I think right at the end, or some place, I did this. I created another 2 directories. You know, the another directory there and a child directory. So we've got quite a nice, you know, interesting set of nodes in this hierarchy. We've got the trial account. Sorry, the trial sub account. Let's call it correct. Use the correct name. The trial sub account there, and then. I think early on, or already, I had this hands on SAP dev directory with a child hands on SAP dev sub account. So we got this structure, okay, and we were parsing the GUIDs out of this bit here, weren't we? We were sort of recognizing the patterns here, and we were parsing that out. Do we all remember that? I hope so. I hope I remember it. Now, the result was we had this script. Called BG, and this is what we wrote, and that's pretty much the long and short of the script. Yeah, that's it. So if we run the script BG trial, oh yeah, BG is not in my path. Why don't I tell you what? No, I'll just do it like that. BG trial. That should tell us the GUID 07E5 07E5. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Where is it? 07E5. So it's parsing the this data here. That's parsing these lines quite nicely. But what if the BTP CLI team decide to sort of improve this table somewhat? You know, then we've got to think, oh no, is the parsing that we set up using regular expressions still going to work? Okay. So that is our challenge. And if you remember, the way to address that challenge is to say, well, we're going to use the power of JSON to do that, the JavaScript object notation. And what we did was say, well, instead of asking for normal output, human readable output, I'm going to use this option on the BTP CLI, -- format JSON, to say, give me the JSON. Now there's quite a lot of JSON, and we put, in fact, let's do it again. Hire.json. Let's put it into a file called hire.json, and then first of all, let's have an explore of it. Okay, shall we explore it? Hire.json. Now, what I'm using is fx.json. I'm using a thing called fx, a command line tool. What's it called? Command line tool and what's that thing there? And terminal JSON viewer fire called fx, and it's pretty cool. And it's sort of like an alternative to JQ, the command line JSON processor. So you can actually script with it as well. You script a little bit differently with it. You can actually write little functions in JavaScript to parse that stuff. So that's one direction. Now I'm trying to focus on JQ myself and learning the JQ language. So I'm going to stick with JQ, but one super feature that I love with FX, which I still use, is the ability to just have a look at some JSON data and sort of open it up and close it up as required. So as we saw, in fact, let's just, if I say cat hire.json, you will see, let's just scroll up, you'll see that it's quite a lot of stuff and there's quite a lot of structure there. Okay, so in order to explore that structure, the fx command is really useful. So we can see at the top level, we've got a number of properties, GUI, display name, created date, etc., blah, 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 blah. But we've also got, you can see these little question marks here. We've also got other things. And these question marks effectively are arrays. You can see it, open square brackets, close square brackets. So the children property at the top level, the value of that property is an array. And if we go into it, I'm using the Vim keys. So fx by default uses Vim keys. So Helmut, so if you're asking about this, Helmut is asking which Vim browser plugin do you use? It's a Vim-like thing, okay? And this is fx, so hopefully that's what you're asking. But it also uses the Vim keys, right? So I sort of went L to sort of expand and go right into the thing, and you can see it's got two objects, two things in the array. So that's one object. Up, open, close, open, close, open, close, down, open, close, open, close, open, close. Or I could just say, Shift L and open them all. Okay, so close them up again. So I'm going to use that to explore. Similarly, we've got another property, and this is important for us to sort of stare at for a minute, because this JSON is the output of the hierarchical view of the global account. So we need to understand it in order to be able to parse it and pull out the same information that we did last week, i.e. given a display name for a directory or a sub-account, we want to know what the GUID is. Are we all on the same page here? Oh, in fact, I've got my Stormtrooper waffle, christened by Ronnie, of course. I'm going to put it over the top of my coffee. But remind me to take it off at some stage, because remember the last time I did that, I forgot about it and it just melted and dropped in. So what we've got at this level is the children property, which is an array. And we've also got the sub-accounts property, which is also an array. And the sub-accounts property can say, let's just understand this. The sub-accounts property, let's open up another thing here, and cat hierarchy.text. In fact, let's truncate that as well, so it's nice and neat, right? Oh, that's actually old, isn't it? Let's do that again. BTB gets accounts, global accounts, show hierarchy. Let's just do that. Let's have a look at that, right? So we can see at the top level, we've got three children. Let me just use this mouse for a second. We've got three children, direct children of the global account. We've got the trial child, which is a sub-account. We've got this directory called another directory, and we've got this directory called hands-on-SCP dev2. Okay. So that's why we're seeing 2 plus 1, 1, 2 plus 1, there, the trial, when we're in here. So the sub-account, we've got one sub-account as a direct child of the global account. And that's that one, display name trial. But we got two children. I'm not convinced that, or it doesn't really fit my brain that these two are separate things. They're just nodes. Maybe I'm thinking of a node hierarchy, like a node list in an HTML structure. Because effectively they're all children, but we can distinguish. What's happening here is that the sub-accounts are being distinguished from the other non-sub-account children. Okay, does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. So in here we've got one child, and that child has a display name of hands-on-SCP dev2. Okay, and we've got another child with a display name of another directory, and that fits exactly with what we saw here. So there's the hands-on-SCP dev2, and there's the another directory. Similarly, let's just go to the top again. We've got here the sub-account, and that's got a display name of trial, and that is this one. Okay, so hopefully we're getting a bit of a feel now for what the JSON looks like, feels like, where the information is. Now, I don't know about you, but initially, this felt a little bit daunting, a little bit scary. This JSON structure was, to my view, more complex than this nice sort of flat, calm thing. The advantage of that is it's nice and flat and calm, and it's got columns, and we can sort of see it as humans and parse it, but the disadvantage is, of course, it's going to be brittle. The advantage of the JSON structure is that it's going to be more reliable, more easy to parse, less brittle, because the structure is conveyed not by using white space, but by using objects and arrays in the JavaScript object notation. The disadvantage is that it's a little bit more complex when you look at it initially. So, does that help? Let me know. The chat's very quiet this morning. Give us a hello in the chat just to make sure that you just let me know you're still there. I'll eat a biscuit while bite with a biscuit while we do that. Tell you what, this monitoring the chat on the phone is quite good. Okay, so what we'll do, and this is what got Andrew quite excited last week, what we'll do is we'll start to explore the JSON hierarchy data, not only in FX, okay, which is there, but also, let's open up another window on tmux, but also in JQ, but not just normal JQ. I'm going to use this interactive JQ. In fact, let's go IJQ. There it is there. It's not on GitHub, it's on another sort of Git-based thing. Hello, Nico, welcome, Nico. Helmut, you're hanging on my lips. That's good, thank you very much. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Is that a good thing that you're hanging on my lips? Yes. You're hanging on my every word. Is that maybe that's the way to translate it? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So interactive JQ does what it says on the tin. It's like JQ, but you can sort of play around with it. It's interactive. If anybody's played with JQ Play, which is an awesome thing, I think that the person that created NodeMon, I think, created this JQ Play, and I did a version of JQ Play in the terminal using tmux and panes and things like that. But to be honest, let's close that. To be honest, IJQ is awesome. Okay, interactive JQ. So Luis says, but JSON structure is more helpful when you have large number of columns into, yeah, Luis, absolutely correct. Absolutely spot on. The JSON structure is definitely more helpful the more stuff you have and the more complex the relationships and the larger number of columns you have in the tabular structure. Exactly, yeah. So JSON all the way. So what we can say is IJQ hierarchy.json, and what happens, and I'll make it a little, I think, Helmut, you were saying I could make it a little bit smaller. Let me know if that's too small. Make it one more small, so we can sort of see, if I can type it right, IJQ. Now, let's just stare at this for a minute and understand what's happening. Nico! If anybody's not seen Nico's first couple of 2-minute videos, let me know and I'll paste them in the chat. They're awesome. In fact, I'll do it now. SAP devs. 2 minutes of. There's the playlist. There we go. And also Mamiki has just done a 2 minutes of the first one in the ABAP series. So let me just paste that into the into the chat. There we go. Check these out. They're awesome. Okay. So this is IJQ. On the left here, on the input, we have the contents of the hierarchy.json file. On the right, we have the output of the current JQ filter. The current JQ filter, this is where we edit down here. This is where we can sort of build up and explore the JSON on the left to produce the output on the right. Thanks John and Nico for confirming that. So the current filter, and you've seen me use this before, maybe you've used this yourself. Let me know if you've used any JQ actually. The most basic JQ filter is the identity filter. And I quite like the fact that it's called the identity filter and what it does, because that reminds me of the identity function in functional programming, which first of all, when you come across it, you think, why would you want something to just to return whatever it's given? But it has an amazing set of uses in functional programming. It's a bit mind-blowing. This identity function just returns what it's given. But by default as well, JQ will endeavor to prettify the output. I'll demonstrate that sort of on the command line. If I say cat hierarchy.json, you know, it looks okay. Some JSON, when you get it as a response from an API, is sort of all clumped together. If I say JQ, I think it's JQC. Yeah, it's like that, but even without the colors. Okay, so what JQ will do for you, if you say JQ.identity function, it will colorize it. And also, if it was sort of all blocked together and all squished together, it will prettify in a nice structure with sort of white space and indentation and so on. Okay, so if you just start out using JQ for that purpose, then great. But there's a lot more to it, right? So that we're using, and you can see down there, the default filter is the dot. If I delete dot, we can see, if I say length, for example, length is a function, and that will tell me how many things there are in the current JSON. Okay, so I'm guessing that means if we go into fx hierarchy.json, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, 15 direct properties. So the length means here 15. I could say .GUID, okay? And that will give me the value of the GUID property. Or I could say, for example, you know, dot children. Dot means the thing, you know, where I am right now, as in the whole thing. And then you can specify, you know, the name of a property. And that is saying, well, give me here the contents of the children property. Does that make sense? Oh, so Ronnie is saying, oh, yes, they are amazing videos, Ronnie, absolutely. So Ronnie is saying, yes, separate playlist. Oh, that one is getting shared at work today. Excellent. Good one, Ronnie. Share this playlist with everybody. Helmut is saying, I'm always using JQ when I work with JSON. Nice one, Helmut. So I'm hoping you're going to help me out here. So the phone's fallen off. Let me just put that over there so it's not sliding away. There we go. Okay. Now, so the children, I could say children and pipe that into the length function. All these things in the filter, these are all parts of the JQ language. So length is a function, dot children is a reference to a property. So why is it saying 2 there? Because, as we saw with fx, there are 2 children. There are 2 things in the array, in the value of the children. Okay, so that sort of makes sense as well, right? I could say children 0. You know, very JavaScript, isn't it, really? Because it is JSON after all. So that's saying, give me the first child. You know, the first thing in the children array. And then I could tack on, well, actually, if I was to say this sort of in longhand, I could say, well, and then from there, from that thing that's produced from that filter, pipe that into this filter, which is, for example, display name. Okay, so we're saying the first child, pipe that, you know, and the result of that, pipe that into dot display name, which will give us the value of this property. There's a shorthand way of doing this, which you'll see it quite a lot, which is just dot display name. Okay, you can do that. Okay. So that's that. Now, there are many ways of, what time is it, by the way? I have no idea. Oh, 8:25 already. Oh my God. There are many ways to do what we want to do. Okay. And if we want to, what I think we want to do is to find all the, well, I'm trying to avoid using the word children, because children specifically here refer to directory children. Okay. In fact, let's go into this directory, this one here, hands-on SAP dev dir. Hands-on SAP dev dir, just remind ourselves, where are we? Yeah, there. Where is it? Show. Let's put that into the, BTP get accounts, global account. Did I pipe it in there before? Show hierarchy. Pipe that, the text version, into hierarchy.txt. And then just have a look at that. Hierarchy.txt. There we go. Ooh, that's ugly, isn't it? Let's save that for a second. There, that's okay. So we can see that this hands-on SAP dev dir doesn't have any children directories. This one does. Another directory does there. We've got a child directory, but hands-on SAP dev dir doesn't have a child directory, but it does have a sub-account in it. So let's just bear that in mind and have a look at this. So this child, hands-on SAP dev dir, doesn't have a children property, but it does have a sub-accounts property, which is an array of one thing, which is the hands-on SAP dev sub-account. If I close that one and go into this one, this is another directory. Remind ourselves, there's another directory. Another directory is a directory. It doesn't have a sub-account, but it does have a directory as a child. So what are we expecting here? We're expecting to not have a sub-accounts property, but to have a children property. Let's have a look. There's the children. I was panicking then. There's the children property, which contains a thing which is the child directory, but it doesn't have a sub-accounts property. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Hey, so Helmut is Volker is saying, "Hello, people's here. It's a little off topic regarding JQ, CLI, BTP, but still, there's currently a limbo in UI5 testing land with UI5 being deprecated, and no announcement option yet for WDI5 a successor. To get the message out, oh, please retweet. Yes, Volker. That's I love the fact that you're using this to do that. Yes, so everybody retweet. Have you tweeted a thing? Let me know. Tweet deck. Let me know. Did you tweet anything? Volker Booth. Oh, there we go. This one. Yes. I'm going to retweet this one. Is it that one we want to retweet? Yes. I'm going to retweet that. And everybody else, in fact, let me put that on the thing. There. And let me retweet it. Boing. Retweet. That's what we call collaboration, live collaboration, isn't it? There we go. Okay, that's that. There we go. Okay. So where were we? We were understanding, hopefully, what we have from a children and a sub-accounts perspective. Now, we don't know up front where we have what. Okay. So one sort of, it's maybe a slightly sledgehammer approach, but I love it. I found a function called recurse. And what recurse will do, well, it will do what it says on the tin. It will recurse through every single property and print out that property and the value. And if the value is like an object or an array, it will then take that object and print out, and descend down there, and descend down there, and descend down there. So I'm wondering, shall we just create, no idea, shall we just create vi test.json? Let's say fruit. Let's have an array That's quite interesting. I mean, I'll tell you why I'm going ooh in a minute. But let me just say banana, apple, fruit, and then we'll have number 42. There we go. Now, how cool is that? I've been messing around with the conceal level and conceal cursor values in Vim so that, I could actually, highlight that and you can see sort of behind, really, the stuff's there, the double quotes and the colon and everything, and well, actually just double quotes, I guess. But that's a really nice way, I think, of viewing, but also edit. If I start to edit, you can see, you can see the double quotes. Anyway, that's a digression as well. Oh, hello. That's something I don't understand. A language I don't understand. I can't even pronounce your name. But welcome anyway. So if we try that, test.json. Let's go into here and IJQ test.json. Okay, that's a little bit easier to understand. So if we say recurse, that's what recurse does. Okay, so it shows you it spits out the whole thing first, and then it starts going into the first property and says, oh, well, that's an array. I'm going to spit out the array. And then it goes into the array and says, oh, okay, well, I'm going to spit out whatever's there. But not, so there's the first bit of the output. It's not quite, highlighting is not great here. There is the second output. Then it spits out banana. Then it spits out apple. Then it sort of, retraces its steps back. And then it comes to number and it spits out 42. So that's a really nice way of saying, just give me everything. Flatten the whole structure. Okay? Apple should always come first. Well, Nico, there's a thing. Yes, great work. Definitely great work, Volker. Volker and the gang are the heroes of UI5, pushing SAP to get with the times. Thank you, Volker, for pushing us. Thank you, Ronnie, for recognizing that. Now, I think John Murray, John and I used to work together. John's a wonderful person. It was great to work with John, and John will probably tell you that my test word, I think some of you know as well, my test word, if I can't think of a word, I just use the word banana. So that's the first thing that always comes to mind. So Nico, while you may be right in one context, Apple always comes first, in my brain, banana is always first. So there we go. Anyway, okay, so that's recurse. Now, another function that's super useful is, times 833, my goodness me, DJ, stop talking, is arrays. Just give me, filter out everything but arrays. Just, only let arrays through. I wonder, is there a strings? Yes, just give me the strings. Or I'm guessing, just give me the numbers. Okay? How nice is that? So we can say also, just give me the objects. Okay? Now, in fact, let's kill that. Let's add an object there. Let's say, I don't know, in there, we'll have, that's an array, so I can say some object A for apple. For Nico, right? There we go. Is that valid JSON? Yeah, it's valid JSON. Let's do that again. So I could say recurse, okay, but just give me the Did I not? Oh, I didn't save it. The reason I didn't save it, and Helmut will know this, is because I've just remapped my leader key, so I didn't actually save it. That's saving it. Right, let's do that again. Oh, hold on. Is that not valid JSON? Some object. What? What's going on? fx test.json. Oh, okay. So my what's going on? Some object. sorry, yes, of course. That's not an object. That's better. Just like that. Okay. Keep me on the line here. There we go. Let's try that. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So now we can say ijq JSON, test.json. So I can say recurse and just give me the objects. So we not only get the outermost main thing, which is an object, but we also get this object here. Okay. So DJ and the minions. DJ and the minions. I like that. I like that, Ronnie. And John says, in fact, I should practice. This is quite small on the thing. I need my glasses. Fond memories of Bluefin and DJ's banana. Yes, that's awesome. I'm not sure, Lewis, whether the banana is awesome or whether IJQ is awesome or what, or even the Vim conceal. Anyway, with that in mind, hopefully we're now sort of understanding what's going on with IJQ or rather with the JQ language. Let's go back and open up hierarchy.txt. So now we're saying, just give me, expand it, flatten the whole thing out and go whoosh. And then just give me the objects, because we know that what we're looking for in the children arrays and the subaccount arrays, we're just looking for objects. And then, well, actually, let's say, I don't know, display name. No, we can't do that. Yeah, we can. There we go. Display name. So give me all the objects and then pipe those in to, because the objects will produce, the objects filter will produce, one or more things. So pipe those things one at a time into the next filter, which is .display name, which will say, give me the value of the display name property of the thing. And you have to think about JQ in terms of it will, if you pipe something in a filter that produces multiple JSON objects as output, JSON things as output, it will then pass those one at a time into the next filter. Okay. Does that make sense? The output BTB good. Yes. I agree, Lewis. So now we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 display names. And in fact, that matches up. Let's get rid of that one. I don't want, let's get rid of that. Quit. Quit. Get rid of that. There we go. So yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got those things. 7A, 3E, trial, another directory, a child directory, hands on SB dev dir, hands on SB dev sub. Let's get rid of that as well. There we go. There. We got those things. Now, how do we then reduce that? Well, we can see here. Oop, how do I delete it? Oh no. We can see here that, in fact, we do. It will be nice to have a fx hierarchy.json. We can see here that, for example, the children have a property called my parent. Okay. And the subaccounts have a property called my parent. Notice, unfortunately, right now, they're not consistent. Okay, so that's parent GUID, where GUID is written capital G, lowercase UID. And that parent GUID is written parent with GUID in all caps. Okay? It is what it is. We're going to get JSON that we don't control, but we have to deal with. So here's a great example of doing that. I've fed this feedback back. Fed this feedback back? That's very tautological. I've given feedback about this to the team and opened a ticket to say, can we get this, normalized? So, those lovely people are very receptive. So that may change. However, it doesn't bother us because, we can deal with this. The reason I'm talking about parent GUID is because then we can identify things that are not the global accounts, the things that are not at this level, because at this level, the global account doesn't have a parent GUID. So what we can say Let's get rid of that. There we go. What we can say is recurse objects, objects, there we go. And then we can say, I'm going to pass this into another function called select parent GUID question mark. Is there a property? The question mark says, does this property exist? Now we can use shift and the arrows to get up to the different boxes, input, output, input, output, input, output. And then I can use the sort of Vim keys to have a look through, okay, on either side. So we can see here that we've got hands-on SAP dev dir, and it's got some sub-accounts in there, but we don't care about that right now. And we've also got another directory. And we've also got a child directory, okay? And that's it. So we've managed to pick out all of the directories. Because remember, when we looked in FX here, the directories have a property called parent GUID, where GUID is sort of semi-lowercase. So to pick out everything, or dot parent GUID question mark, does it have a property called parent GUID written that way, or does it have a property written parent GUID written that way? So hopefully now we should have parent GUID. There we go. There we go. There we go. There it is. Parent GUID with uppercase GUID, display name, hands-on SB dev, sub. It's a sub account. And there's another one, parent GUID. Where is it? No, that's not that one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Child directory. There we go. Parent GUID, capitals, display name, trial. So we've picked out. In fact, why don't we say now? Let's go back to the filter and let's say dot display name. There we go. We've now gone from 6 to 5 because we've missed out the global account because the global account doesn't have a parent GUID property and doesn't have a parent GUID property. Does that make sense? Are you all still with me? Have I lost everybody? Let me know in the chat. So now we've got the objects that are relevant for us working out what we want. 842. So all we need to do now is say, well, actually, what we really want is to say select where the display name, let's say we were looking for the GUID for the trial account, where the display name equals trial. There it is. And we filter all those objects down further to just a single object where the display name equals trial. And then we can just say .GUID. Give me the GUID. If we said, for example, what is it called? Hands on SAP Dev dir 58A1. Is that right? 58A1. Yeah, 58A1. Hands on SAP Dev dir. So that's cool as well, right? So finally, what we also need is to know whether this is a sub-account or a directory. Because remember the BTP GUID script. Let's kill that now. If we look at the BG script, we not only want to read the GUID, but we also want to read the subtype, whether it's a directory or a sub-account. How do we determine whether it's a directory or a sub-account? Now, there's lots of different ways. We could say, it'd be nice if this was in sort of Vim mode editing. We could actually, we need two things. We need, let's say banana, first of all, a static text and .GUID. Okay, so there's the output given the hands-on SAP Dev dir thing. But we can turn that into white space separated output, which is what read is expecting, by piping that into a special function called TSV. Excuse me. So TSV, tab separated values, will make it a tab separated thing. And you can see the \T is the tab. By default, I think IJQ will do the normal JQ without the raw. So if we were to do, I think we looked at this last week or in the somewhere. If we were to do that and say, give me raw output, it would just say banana, then it would have a tab of white space, and then it would say the GUID, no double quotes. So that's what we want. That's what we want. However, how do we replace this banana? Well, we can say if And if we know that a sub account, let's do this. In fact, we know that a sub account has a region property. Let's just do that. Let's get rid of this for a second. We know it's got a region property. Now, my color scheme is a bit rubbish because that says null there, right? So this particular output has null for the region because it's a directory. The directory doesn't live in a region. A sub account lives in a region. So if I were to change this back to handle_sb dev sub, the region is US 10, right? So what we could say is, let's rely on the existence or not of the region property in the object to determine whether it's a sub account or a directory. So we can use another, I think it's a function construction. If .region, if there is a .region, then output the string sub account, else output the string, or the value is directory, and then you've got to put end, I think. There we go. There we go. Yes. Please, when finished, the session should be good. Put some reference like. What? Sorry, Lewis. Can you rephrase that? I'm being a bit thick here. I'm not sure what you mean. Let me know. So that is what. So if we now go back to the directory, for example, dir, it'll say directory. So we can now encode that into our script. We'll change our script. Okay, so let's do that. I'm determined to get this done in the hour. So why don't we have in fact, what we need to do here is change that to say the get hierarchy thing. This is what we did last week to spit out JSON output first of all. Okay, and let's create a parse function. Okay, that parse function, we want to pass it the display name. So local display name, we'll pass the display name, the thing that we're looking for, like trial or handle_sb dev sub or whatever, to continue to learn about this amazing feature. Yes, please, when finished the session. Oh, yes. So yes, I'll send you some references. In fact, there's a blog post that I wrote about this very thing. So in fact, let's just do that now before I forget. Part 2, I think it's called part 2. There we go. There. Bang, douche. So have a look at that. Okay. But of course we want to be able to pass what we're looking for, but we also want to pass the lump of JSON as a string. So let's say local lolcat, local hierarchy equals $2, right? Second parameter. And let's just try this. Let's say echo, what are we doing here? Down here, echo GUID, echo banana, and then some GUID, right? Let's just echo that out. And now instead, what we want to do is we want to say the result of, calling parse for example, display name, right? Display now, because that's what we're looking for, and pass it the hierarchy. Does that make sense? Yeah, that seems right, doesn't it? Okay, let's just save that. Open up this thing here, and let's just say list bg, and when bg changes, let's run it. Bg trial. Okay, let's do the trial. Some GUID. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, some GUID. Echo. In fact, shall we just echo, just for the testing purposes, let's also echo out the $subtype, right? Has, that'll do, actually, that'll do. Right, save that. Echo subtype, did I save? Oh, save that. There we go. And banana, some GUID. There we go. So we're getting that. Fine. So all we need to do is replace that echo with a bit of JQ, which we've already got. JQ raw output. Actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the, I don't know. First of all, let's pass an arg to JQ, give it so we can display name. Oh no, let's not do that now. Let's just put some basic stuff, right? First of all, and then pass hierarchy in there, and we'll say dot GUID and dot. Sorry, no. Let's say banana. Let's just do the same thing. Some GUID and pipe that into. Right, pipe that into @tsv. Now, will that work? Yes. Okay. So we're doing the same thing. Okay, we're getting two values, but this time we're not just echoing them out. We're just using JQ to pull in hierarchy and then just ignore it and just spit out two, raw strings. So let's just replace one of these, right? So just for the time being, let's just use the GUID at the top level, right? Which is C04C. Okay, C04C is the GUID of the top level thing. C04C. Okay. Yep. Are we good? Are we good? Okay, so we know that we've got this sort of structure now into which we can inject the JQ that we've written. So why don't we now start to bring that in? What's it look like? Where is it? There we go. Let's just go back to the start. Can I copy that? Let's copy that. Can I copy it? That'll do for now. Let's just copy that bit. Will this work? Paste in. There we go. Okay, that's nice. Well, sort of nice. Recurse. And the way I like to do, and this is the way I've done it in the blog post as well, the way I like to do it is line by line. Okay, so there we go. There, like that. Oops. So there's the JQ. So we're recursing, so we sort of flattening everything out. Then we're passing that flattened out thing into. By the way, just ignore this sort of broken pipe thing here. That is a feature I've turned on in Vim to show me how things line up. So that doesn't really exist in the code. This is just Vim displaying that thing. It's quite nice. I quite like it. Okay, like for indentation, ooh, how do I follow that thing there? So pipe it into objects. Then we say we want only objects that have got a parent GUID property, spelled either of those two ways. That'll get rid of the global account object. Then we want only the object in that filtered out list where the display name is, well, actually, we don't want a hard-coded thing here. We want sort of a variable, don't we? Okay, so we want a variable. So we want to say display name. So what that does is say, I want to define an argument called display name, which I can use with a $, which is this one here. And the value of that, I want to give as the value, this value here. So let's just do it in two stages. If I say trial here, right? Let's just do that. In fact, let's continue this. If region, then sub account, that's what we did, isn't it? Account, else directory. The value is that, end, and then .GUID. Save that. There we go, 07E5. 07E5 is 07E5. Yeah, there we go. There's the trial sub account. So now we can replace this with, rather than a hard-coded value for the display name argument, we can say $display name, which resolves this variable here, but that we passed in as the first argument to parse. Okay, so this $display name here refers to this one, and this display name here refers to this one. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm still hitting the comma as my leader key. That's why it's not saving. So space W, there we go. Right. So we've got it. We've got it. So all we need to do, well, we've done it. That's it, we've done it. Yeah. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? We've now started to use the JSON format output, which is more reliable, more parsable, more able, as Lewis says, more able to convey more complex structures. And we're now using JQ to parse that in a reliable fashion, even dealing with the sort of the weirdness, the sort of the slight inconsistencies between how children refer to their parents. We're using another select to reduce that even further. I suppose I could, maybe, no, actually, no, you can't guarantee that display names will be different. So I think this is the right order. And then we're producing an array of two things. One thing is this sort of expression here, which is going to result in either the value subaccount or directory. And the other thing is an expression which points to the GUID property of the object that's come through this set of filters so far. And then in order to turn that sort of back into white space separated goodness, we just pipe it to TSV, because tabs are, the one true separator in Unix land, right? Which so read can read them as tab, with tabs as separators, tabs are the thing. So I think that's it. 8:56. I can't believe it. I've not even all my biscuit, and we're finishing a moment early. Have I forgotten anything? I think that's it. I'm sort of worried now. It's like echo. No, that's it. Echo subtype. Yeah, we don't want the subtype, do we? We just want to get rid of this one again. There we go. We want to echo that. Now, oh yeah, that's it. Let's just test this bit as well. Will it set the target? So let's kill that. Let's watch BTP. Okay, let's go across to here. Because what we're going to do now is say BTP GUID trial. I think that's set already, isn't it? So let's say BTP GUID hands on SAP dev dir, right? Let's set the let's get the GUID for hands on SAP dev dir. But I can also say -t. If -t is passed or minus target, then also run the BTP target -- dynamic subtype, which is either going to be the word directory or subaccount, set the GUID. So I can say -t. Hopefully this should change. Directory. There we go. 5881. 5881. And if we set, we've got hands on SAP dev sub. That will set the target subaccount, and of course it's got the target directory as well. So there we go. Woo! I think that's okay. So that's it as far as BTP GUID parsing. I hope I've given you some ideas as to what to look into as far as sort of mastering JSON with JQ. Lewis says, even if you need to extract data with copy and paste. So I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining. Let's finish 1 minute early. And I think I'm away next week. I'm not here next week on Friday. So there's probably not going to be a live stream. There may be, it depends on what time I go away. I don't know. But the next topic, we're going to look at some tutorials that Daniel Roblewski wrote on the trial account, but also the free tier. Setting up the free tier thing and just exploring that a little bit. So until next time, thanks so much for joining. And have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye.